So, the Greek colony of Cimmeria. The Cimmerians are rather weak in Rome 2, available using the Pirates and Raiders DLC. They're not brilliant. They're okay hoplites, their skirmishers are fantastic, their cavalry is mid. Their elite hoplites like armor, though they have okay stats elsewhere. Their lotus suck. They're the best archer in the game. They have pick pelters, so they can. Their range core is quite strong actually, but everything else is really really weak. And yeah, there are a few unique units, small roster, and I guess we'll have to go over them individually. As there's not much to say about Cimmeria. They are very 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 bad. Okay, so here we are with them all individually laid out. One thing you'll notice is lack of sword infantry. This is an axeman. There's no swords, lack of javelins. This is the main reason why Cimmeria is very bad. Young axes, overall, aren't good. The overall stat, they've got no javelins, they're coming at 190, the same as the Step Spearmen. They do get the 10 AP, good melee defense though, and everything else is awful. They will do nothing for you. There is no point to bring them. Don't bring them. They do nothing. Their 10 AP isn't worth it when compared to what you can bring instead for the same price. So, always bring the Step Spearmen over the Young Axes. Not worth it. Step Spearmen, why are they worth it? Well, because they come with square, 45 armor, and 30 bonus versus large. For 190, you can use them to battle buddy your Cimmerian nobles, and if cavalry doesn't charge them, because if they do, they've got no javelins in their light, they'll be flattened. But if cavalry doesn't charge them and step spears do get into the cav, they will start to drop them because of that 30 bonus versus large, because it's 44 attack and 50 weapon damage because of the bonus. So, cavalry's got to be worried of these guys if they do get into them and they don't get a good charge off of them. Military hoplites, good over before. You bring maybe one as Cimmeria. It really depends on what funds you're left with. They're a good low tier, but they're expensive at 300. They're survivable. Their offensive stats are awful. They're not that bad in hoplite wall. I think it's like 59 or something melee defense. What is it? Give it a minute here and it'll show us. Come on. 57. 57 melee defense. I mean, if you need a survivable low tier, I don't see why you'd bring them. Cimmeria's an elite spam anyway, so like, you could bring one or two. It just really comes down to your funds, because he's obviously better than Step Spearman in combat. Gets cavalry. They could be considered better due to the bracing and being very heavy, but it depends. It really depends on the situation. One of their unique units, the Scythian Hoplites. They've got good melee attack, bad spear, 71 melee defense when in hoplite wall. When out of it, they are... Come on. 56. They've got 80 armor, 50 health. No, 55 health, sorry. So, they're still considered dumpable, but they only cost 530. So they are that lower end of mid-tier hoplite that you can bring... People will disagree with me, but you can bring one or two of these guys to eat some javelins before sending in your more vulnerable nobles. They're not going to kill, but they will tank a few hits, and that's what you need. That's what you need as Cimmeria. You need something to tank the hits. But then, you could argue, well, why not just bring two measure hoplites? You could certainly do that. Regular hoplites, been over before. Cimmeria do have access to them, as they are a Greek colony. I don't know about them. But I wouldn't bring them, still. I still won't bring them, actually, because just Cimmeria relies on its archers and elites to do way too much damage to bring the regular hoplites, so don't bring the regular hoplites. I don't think it's a faction way you ever would. This is not. Always bring the Cimmerian nobles as Cimmeria, not the regular hoplites, despite their stats looking pretty good. It's the elite spear that really screws them over. They'll hold, but you've got better options, mate. So, yeah. Don't bring them. 650, but don't bring them. The Cimmerian Nobles, which is your only reliable infantry, 1090 I think they are, so they're slightly cheaper for an elite. They have good attack, the elite spear, good morale, good health, good melee defense, but they do lack armor, 80 armor. These are now squishy elite hoplites. They do come with extra charge defense, forgot to mention. They're squishy. Javelins and arrows will do a lot more damage to these guys than any other elite hoplite, and that really cucks them, because you need your frontline to be solid, right? Hold solid and able to grind enough against most of the things, but the Cimmerians can't because of their armor. So you're really at a disadvantage because the Cimmerians literally suck. But it's the only option. But at least you have the 8 armor piercing spear, and they kind of look cool, so you do have that. But Cimmeria really is a bad faction, but I guess you can bring quite a few of these. Cimmeria has the access to the standard javelinmen and slingers, neither of which you'd ever bring as Cimmeria. I've never seen them ever used, so don't use them. We've gone over the units before. They're not brilliant, but, you know, for the price, you get what you pay for with both these units. But for Cimmeria, they're not worth it. What is worth it is Step Archer. This is like an Eastern Archer, but with good damage, the 40 damage, for 330. So they're actually cheaper than an Eastern and better. So bring these guys if you want to go cheaper on the missiles. I don't know why you would, but let's just say you do. They're going to do a lot of damage, just dump infantry, and they're going to get their value, no matter what they're shooting at. And, yeah, I'd recommend one of these guys, because you need your elite archers in Cimmeria. You need them. If you need the extra 270 funds as the Cimmerian heavies are 600, then do it. But you are sacrificing archer fighting capabilities. Step archers, not that good. Well, actually, that's a lie. They are good, but not in Cimmeria. Yeah, I'll do peltasts. Picked peltasts. The best elite skirmisher in the game. They dual act as melee infantry because they're very, very good. They've the highest missile damage, most amount of ammo for 720. They are very expensive, though they guarantee to get a chevron. If you don't, it's just skill issue. They're survivable. They have quick reload, fire shot. No, the step archers also have fire shot. Oh, I should mention that. These guys will act as... Once you're out of ammo on these guys, they'll act as infantry. But the thing is, if you're bringing these guys, you're sacrificing your archer fighting capabilities. And these guys are more expensive. So, you can try a few comps out with them, but depending on the rule set, if it's +1 rule set or standard. But, yeah. Pick pelters are very, very good unit, and they can be used in Cimmeria. They're doing it at the expense of something else. That something else is the best archers in the game. 600, 35 armor, 55 HP, precision shot, fire shot, missile damage 40. They are the best. Number 1. Because they have 35 armor, only 5 less than a Syrian, the damage of a Cretan, and they get precision shot of a Syrian. They are the best at archer fighting. You could argue the Syrian's slightly better at dumping infantry, because it has heavy shot, but it comes down to when you're using that heavy shot. These guys are just the best for 600. This is the best archer you can get. Always bring 4 of them, unless you're desperate for funds for some reason. Bring 3, but you are always going to bring Cimmerian heavies. If you don't, you've just failed. They are spears in melee, so if they get charged and cavalry's trying to go through them, because you can pull for skirmishers, they're going to take casualties because of the spear. So, keep that in mind, all cavalry players. Yeah, always bring them. Cimmeria has 3 horse archers, all step 1s. So, let's gonna go over them all. Step horse archers. Land battles, maybe, but not in sieges. They're not a bad unit. A 380, I think it is, or 360. 40 missile damage is more than enough to bring them. They got fire strong Cantabrian Circle. Like, yeah, they're a fine unit, but they don't really work in Cimmeria's roster. Sorry. So yeah, highly damaging, very fragile due to like no armor, 70 health, very, very fragile, but, you know, even if you bring on them, they'll die, they'll do a lot of damage in return, though. Armored horse archers, use that term loosely, with 35 base value armor. They retain the damage, they have medium mass, and they have good offensive stats, actually, but not good defensive ones. They maintain the poor health, the armor's mid, they do get precision shot, heavy shot, so they are really capable of doing a lot of damage. Once again, more of a land battle unit than the siege one, which is what these videos are based on. So you can bring them, but not in a siege. Noble horse archers are only slightly better. They have the high damage. This is also Cimmeria's second general option, as they have two. This one and the Cimmeria Noble Infantry. Good stats in melee. Heavy missile mass, 40 missile damage, precision shot, and heavy shot. And okay, thank God the dog stopped barking. They have to make a cut now. They have slightly more, 10 more health, 5 more armor, so they're more survivable. They got good morale. Armored soldiers don't really have good morale. 790. The armored soldiers are 580. So it all, you know, the pay increase, what you pay for does increase over time, and it is actually rather on par. Like low end, mid tier cost, elite cost, and accurate balance pretty nicely. The other two units, Step Lancers. I can already see you bringing 1 or 2 of these in a siege, which is messing around. In land battle, you'd obviously bring them. Medium shot cav. They're not going to do a lot of damage, but if they do get into archers, they will kill because of their medium shot cav mass, but just not as well as others. They're fragile. They cost 340, sorry, so they are rather cheap. But I still don't see you bring them. You shouldn't. Unless you're really trying to give that surprise if you're thinking on defense, in which case you're probably throwing already. They are better on attack than defense, due to more money for their elites and skirmishers. But yeah, the step lancers, they can kill if they get into missiles, but that's the big if, because if they're breathed on, they die, and they won't do a huge amount of damage into something like Syrians anyway. But against Eastern stuff like that, step archers, they will. Citizen cav, you don't bring citizen cav, even on Cimmeria. You don't. It doesn't improve them. They are tanky cav, they are medium, but they still don't kill anything. They suck. They won't kill cav, they won't kill infantry, they won't kill skirmishers. For 540, they're a scam. You're probably better off dismounting them. It's like, don't bring the citizen cavalry. Cimmeria is a really, really bad faction, despite what some people in my community might say. Rogel. So, really, Cimmeria's core units are Step Spears, Cimmeria Nobles, Cimmerian Heavies, arguably Step Archers. You can experiment with their missile core, but their infantry core has to be these 2 units. And the cavalry, I mean, you can bring another horse archer if you want flexibility. It's not it's not an awful unit, but it's not a brilliant one either. So yeah, that's Cimmeria, and next time we'll do Colchis, a far better faction. They're still not a brilliant one. It's better than Cimmeria, like most things will be. Bye-bye.